War drones are no longer distant. They are crossing into NATO airspace, turning the Baltic region into a growing security concern. That's what I'm going to discuss now with Estonia's Defense Minister Hanno Pevkur here in Tallinn. We are here in Tallinn, Estonia, on NATO's eastern flank. We've been hearing in the last weeks almost every day drone incidents. Some of the drones just flying, some of them crashing, some of them being shot down. Let me ask you directly, has the war already spilled into the Baltics?
Well, first of all, we have to clarify why we see the drones here. It's not that Ukraine is attacking NATO. It's because Russia is attacking Ukraine and Ukraine is defending itself. So just to be very clear. And the second point I really would like to clarify in the very beginning, that I've heard that here and there, that NATO is letting Ukraine to use its airspace. This is not true. We have never allowed that. And to be honest, Ukraine has never asked for that. So to be very clear with that. Secondly, coming to your question, well, NATO is not at war. Russia is at war with Ukraine. Russia started that war and Ukraine is defending itself. And this is the consequence we see at the moment in NATO. The easiest way to stop all of that is that Russia stops the war, goes out from Ukraine, and gives back what Ukraine deserves and what is the full right of Ukraine.
Let's talk about Estonia, about the case here. There was a Ukrainian drone in your airspace 2 weeks ago, approximately reportedly redirected by a Russian force. Your military decided to shoot it down. The first time of Estonian territory. Why did you make that call?
Many reasons behind that. First, during the peacetime, the regulations are definitely different comparing to that what we have during the wartime. So during the peacetime, one very important precondition is that we will identify visually the target. So we cannot just take the radar cross-section and say that, okay, we have something flying, we will shoot it down. So it might be a small Cessna with a father and daughter on the plane. So we will not do that.
Or birds.
Or birds. So this is why we need to identify that. So the visual identification was there. So we saw what it is. We saw that it's it cannot be in our airspace. So and second is that also we were looking at the trajectory. Third, we were looking that are we able to shoot it down without any collateral damage. And looking at all these conditions, the decision was made to take it down.
Mm-hmm. But the drone was taken down by a NATO F-16, I think, jet, flown by a Romanian pilot. 1 hour in an F-16 jet costs up to 25,000 euros. The drone itself, just a few hundreds. So was that a proportional response?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just imagine that this drone falls into the kindergarten. So you cannot, as I said, we will take down the drones if the preconditions are right. But and even if that costs a lot. Of course, it's not the same during the wartime, because then we will use also different measures for that and different capabilities. But during the peacetime, the quickest reaction is always the fighter jet.
But if these incidents continue, which means more drones, more jets, it can become more quickly costly. Is that sustainable over time?
Every country, also Estonia, is building up new capabilities. This also means new air defense capabilities, interceptor drones, low-cost missiles, etc. But the point is that when you need to react, you react. That's first. Secondly, I really suggest not to speculate. Will we have more drones or not more drones? What Russia will do or not do? So these speculations do not help us. We need to deal with these situations which are present. And when there is a drone in Estonian airspace, when we can take it down, considering conditions I named, many others, then we will take it down.
Mm. But why not use cheaper technologies or cheaper options? I mean, if the drone was redirected by Russia, could it have been redirected by your forces again?
How familiar are you with the drone technology and the counter-UAS capabilities?
Not that much that you maybe.
So then everyone who is saying that it's very easy to repair the teeth, Not being a doctor, in theory you might have different ideas. In reality, you have so many obstacles and challenges, starting from identification, ending up with the interceptor or effectors. You have fog, you have rain, you have strong wind, you have clouds, you have different type of redirection, etc., etc. You need to have the visibility, as I said. With interceptors, there is a limited range of 3-4 kilometers, etc. So it's not like this that you think that you will solve everything with the golden key. There is none. Even for Ukrainians, after 4 years of heavy fights, still unfortunately roughly 15% of the drones are not taken down. And I'm not even talking about the missiles. So it is extremely difficult task. And also with the electronic warfare, it's not like that you will build a balloon over the NATO. Or a shield, just that there is a magical shield. So also for the electronic warfare, you need to see or you need to be in close proximity. So many challenges, and I believe that nobody can say today that he has a golden key which solves all the problems. There is none.
Are you learning from Ukrainians?
We are always learning from Ukrainians. We have a very good contact with Ukrainians, but also, as I said, they cannot take down everything. They are using. I've been every 6 months in Ukraine. I've been in the command post. I've seen on the battlefield or on the air defense batteries what they are doing, how they are operating. Even with the interceptor drones or everything else, yes, they have advanced magnificently and they are doing great job. But that doesn't mean that it can all just transferred to our territory. And more importantly, roughly 50,000 Ukrainians are engaged every single day in the drone defense. During the peacetime, no NATO country can do that.
But at the end of the day, let me ask you more generally, how prepared are you for that kind of threat?
Again, we need to separate what is the wartime and what is the peacetime. During the wartime, the regulations and the rules are totally different. The airspace is closed. We don't need, and we have most probably evacuated people from the inhabited areas. So it's totally different story.
And we are not at war.
We are not at war. So we are in the peacetime. And during the peacetime, you need to consider many obstacles or challenges when you are making a decision to bring something down. So, but that doesn't mean that we are not. So this is why I suggest to separate the capabilities we have, also in NATO, and the possibilities we can use during the peacetime.
But do these incidents make Baltics, let's say, more exposed within NATO, or even maybe vulnerable or weak?
No. It's as I said, it's not about the NATO's capabilities to defend NATO. It's about what we can do during the peacetime, and are you then asking that is Finland today weakened somehow? No, Finland has a very strong defense capabilities. So this is why the same with the NATO as general. We have a lot of capabilities. We are ready to defend ourselves, but we need to separate and we need to draw the line between the peacetime and wartime.
Let's talk about something you mentioned already in the beginning of our interview. Ukraine has apologized for that incident here, calling the incident unintentional. Is that sufficient to you, or does Ukraine bear some responsibility?
The responsibility lies on Russia, as I said. Russia is the one why we see also Ukrainian drones in NATO's territory. So there is no doubt about that. Of course, we've been in contact and we are trying to find also solutions together with Ukrainians, how we can avoid any kind of that happening again. But that can we exclude that fully? No, because Russia is working extensively, increasing their capabilities in the proximity of Estonian and Latvian border and also Finnish border. meaning defending more and more also St. Petersburg, Ust-Luga, and Primorsk and other locations in our neighborhood. So this is the reality, and also Russia wants to be better in defending itself against the drones and using all the capabilities, kinetic options, and also electronic warfare options.
Mr. Pevkur, you're a politician, follow the public mood closely. What do people feel, or what are people feeling in Estonia right now? Anger, concern, or still confidence and calm?
Estonians are quite pragmatic people. Also, on the governmental level, we've tried to be as open as we can and give this information what we have to the population and to be transparent. And that helps also to people to understand the situation, and everybody understand that the cause of that is Russia. That these incidents, what we've had, are the consequence of the Russian war against Ukraine. So there is no doubt about that. Secondly, we are also asking from the people on a regular basis what is their opinion towards helping Ukraine, towards our own security, etc. So, you have small differences in time, but not a major change when we talk about people's opinion of helping Ukraine and people's opinion to be ready to defend also Estonia if needed.
There were no casualties so far, no big damages. What do you think if that war to change and would see the first victim here over the Estonian territory or here in the Baltics? Would that change something fundamentally?
I don't want to speculate, but obviously if there are casualties, then the situation is different from that what we've seen so far. How it affects, well, I really do hope that it will not affect much of that why we are helping Ukraine. And we are helping Ukraine because Ukraine defends also our freedom at the moment.
But what would happen then? Could that lead to a broader escalation involving NATO?
Well, when it's an Ukrainian drone attacking Russian oil depot or harbor or port to destroy the Russian economy or to reduce the Russian ability to finance the war, then I don't see any reason why NATO should start a war. Because Ukraine is defending itself, and as I said, Ukraine is also defending Europe. So when Russia starts to attack deliberately NATO, then it's a different story. Then we talk about Article 4 first and then Article 5.
You strongly denied it. Also in Latvia it was denied the fact what the Russians are claiming that the Baltics would offer the airspace to attack Russia, which is once again strongly denied here everywhere. Why is Russia promoting this narrative? What do you think?
Well, everybody who has looked into the Russian propaganda, then in their interests is to bring or to show to its own population that NATO is an enemy, that the collective West or the Western countries are the enemy of Russia. With that also supporting Ukraine, etc. So there is nothing new in the Russian propaganda and in the Russian narrative. And when they want to say something, they say. They don't care about the facts. They've never cared about the facts.
But do you care what they say? How seriously do you take this?
We know what it is. And when we have not given Estonian airspace for Ukrainians, then we have not given that. When Ukrainians have not asked for our airspace, then it is so. So when you want to lie, then you can always lie.
Let's zoom out and talk about NATO as a whole. Estonia is pushing defense spending to around 5.4% of GDP, and there is talk of 5% becoming a new benchmark within NATO. But some countries, especially in southern Europe, are more hesitant. Is NATO unity starting to crack?
NATO unity is there, and we don't have to have any doubts about that. But also, we need to continue on that track that everybody is investing more into defense. During the Cold War period in the 80s, there was no question about that Italy or France or Germany will spend more than 3%, even 4% for defense. So it was a normal thing to have. I have not heard that in 80s people said that the subsidies are too low or the pensions are too low. Everybody understood that to deter Russia, or that time Soviet Union, you need to invest more into defense. So we are back in that time. So we are back at this, that we need to invest more into defense. We have to fill that gap which was created since the collapse of the Soviet Union until the war in Ukraine. And this gap is unfortunately too big to have all these capabilities we need. So obviously we cannot fill that gap in 2 years. But we need to have a clear trajectory for that, and this is why we decided that this trajectory needs to be like minimum in 10 years to be at 5%. So it's about the collective response and collective defense. So and as I said, sometimes that NATO is like a symphony orchestra, that everybody is playing their instrument to have a good music. So it cannot be so that the first violin is playing the other tone. Then this piece of music is not the same piece of music.
The first violinist could be the United States. At the same time, the US is adjusting its military presence in Europe, including plans to withdraw some thousands troops from Germany. But there is no clear sense who goes, who stays. Information is changing, or what the US role will be within NATO. What's your take on this?
My take is that US is still a strong ally, and US has pushed for many years for that Europeans need to take more responsibility. It's not just last year. Just go back to many other US presidents who have said that the same. The urgency was not there because there was no war in Europe. Now we have the war in Europe, and now I believe it is the last time and the last moment for Europe to wake up and to build up these capabilities we need to deter Russia and to defend our continent, because do we like it or not, but to preserve the peace, you need to invest into defense. And I believe that all of us would like to see that also our children have the possibility to enjoy these freedoms we can enjoy today, like freedom of speech, freedom of movement, or freedom of trade. These are the basic freedoms we believe are right thing to do, or right thing to have.
One more question to the NATO as whole. Poland's Foreign Minister Radzislaw Sikorski, put it somewhat more pointedly, even though with a smile. After all recent announcements from Washington, he said at least one thing seems clear: Putin may not have a clear picture of what NATO is planning right now. Do you share his opinion, even maybe his irony?
Radzislaw is a good friend, and definitely he has a very broad view of the world order, and his opinions are always very valuable. What is important is that we have very clear understanding what NATO is doing regarding the regional plans, what NATO is doing regarding the capability targets, and what we need to do. There is a very clear understanding of that. And when we have all of that agreed regarding the capability targets, regarding the regional plans, and also regarding the investment program, then I'm very confident that we can deter Russia, and that there will be no war in Europe. So what we need to do is to show to our partners in the United States that we are credible and that we can take care of our own security. But that doesn't mean that we are not together, because as we were together after 9/11, as we were together in many other regions of the world and in the crises, then it is our duty to keep our backs together.
And the last question: together with Lithuania and Latvia, you are building the so-called Baltic defense line, so a huge line of fortifications, 1,700 kilometers, shared border with Russia and Belarus. But in the age of drone warfare, is this kind of static defense still up to date?
Absolutely, absolutely. Even when you have drones, You have counter US measures. Even you have drones to attack something, that doesn't allow you to control the territory. To control the territory, you still need to have the land forces. You need still also mass. So it is clear that it's the Baltic defense line also, or the eastern flank watch in European projects, or the eastern flank deterrence initiative, what is built by Americans as an initiative and measures. All of these have to be taken as you are buying howitzers or the F-35s or the satellite capabilities or the deep strikes, whatever. You are building up different capabilities. And one of the capabilities is also fortification. So you cannot tear it away from other capabilities. So this is one of the things we can do during the peacetime, and we are doing that.
And what message are you sending to Moscow with that?
That we are prepared. We are prepared, we are ready to defend our country and our nation alone, together with our allies, and together with our neighbors.
Hanno Pevkur, Estonian Minister of Defense, thank you so much.
Thank you.